Visit fda.gov.
Ask an attorney about Florida law. Ask an attorney, just give him a call.
This is Ask an Attorney, all about Florida law with attorney Joe Pippen. If you have a legal question, call Joe right now. In Tampa, call 813-287-5700. Anywhere else, toll free at 877-943-9673. That's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Joe Pippen.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Ask an Attorney, all about Florida law. I'm attorney Joe Pippen, practicing attorney. The law office is open. You have a toll-free number if you have any legal question at all. It's 877-943-9673. In studio today, attorney Patrick Smith.
Good morning, Joe. Happy Saturday.
Good morning. Happy Saturday to you, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there getting ready to come up. Big Turkey Day coming up.
Very exciting.
Or ham, or whatever you like to serve.
Hey, it's family time, really, more than anything.
There you go. Hey, so Patrick, our live in studio, came in just to help you understand a legal question or give you some legal direction. You have a toll-free number, which is 877-943-9673. Broadcasting on multiple stations around the state of Florida. We're both in Tampa today at the Salem Communications Facility, broadcasting live here on 570, 910, 860, 930, and a host of FM stations that are affiliated with those stations. We're also on 90.3 FM coming out of Haines City, Florida. We're on 600 The Answer in Jacksonville. We're on 96.3 FM coming out of Sun City Center, community local station there. We're on the Crystal Rock station, or Classic Rock station in Crystal River, I should say. We're also on WTAN coming out of Clearwater. So no matter where you're listening, you have a toll-free number, and we'd love to talk to you. That's what we came in for today, is to talk to you at 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. So, Patrick, what was the biggest mess a client came in to discuss with you today or this week that you had to untangle?
I think the biggest mess that came in this week was a client who had added a child's name to almost every single one of their assets.
Adult child?
Adult child who had a situation where the parent said, I wanted to make sure that my child would have access to everything should I die without any need for any court orders. And unfortunately, this particular child was now going through a nasty divorce. And as you know, in a divorce proceeding, you have to do full financial disclosure of all your assets. And this child's name being on mom's assets required that mom's assets be disclosed, and now we have a mess to clean up.
Was a homestead involved in that?
Homestead was involved, and there was potential loss of homestead exemption there, loss of creditor protection, and the gift tax exposure was through the roof. So it was a nasty situation. And without the divorce proceeding, you know, there's a lot of chance to go back and unring that bell. But with the divorce proceeding looming, it's going to be a lot more difficult to fix and remedy that mistake. A lot of people have the right spirit of making it easy for the kids, and then unfortunately they go about it on their own without seeking good professional legal advice from counsel. And there would have been a much better, more efficient way through simple trust planning to give the child the same access without exposing the parent to any of the child's liabilities or triggering any of the gift tax exposure that we experienced in this particular case.
Well, we both see that all the time.
All the time.
Did the parent have multiple children?
No, just the one child.
Yeah, sometimes you see that when there are multiple children involved.
Oh, and it really backfires there. If mom passes away, and then you have the situation of
the will says 3 equal shares, and everything is going between 2, and that controls.
And then the child's told, well, you can keep everything tax-free, or give your siblings their share and pay the gift taxes out of the share you keep. Well, let me think long and hard about what the right thing to do is there.
And some kids have taken the position, even though the will says 3 equal shares, and everybody knows it's supposed to be 3 equal shares, and the child just said, well, Mom wanted me to have it all.
Yeah.
and they just take it. I mean, Mark Twain said you never know a person to share an inheritance with them.
And one of my favorites was the one where the trustee said it said 3 equal shares. There were 3 pieces of property. He deeded his siblings each a piece of property and kept 1 piece of property himself.
2 vacant lots.
2
and a
vacant
mansion.
lots, and he kept the mansion. Exactly. So he said, that's equal, right? No, it doesn't work that way.
All right, we have open phones right here. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock on November 23rd, doing a live show. We're taking your questions at 877-943-9673. Toll-free number if you to call in, 877-943-9673. You get 2 attorneys for the price of 1 this morning.
Speaking of that, I was just thinking about our car pullover. That's the most dangerous game. Both of us in 1 car. That's an extremely dangerous carpool.
Did your client put her son's name on her automobile too?
She did.
Now that exposes the son
The
to
other way around,
Other
yeah.
way around.
Exactly. Yeah, because if mom's in the accident, now son can be sued just from his name being on an automobile. So a lot of bad planning. But like I said, it wasn't a commentary on a parent doing something nefarious. It was a commentary on the fact that the parent was trying to do the best they could on their own without seeking professional legal advice.
So is the parent going to reverse everything?
They're trying to. But now you're up against a divorce proceeding, which is where obviously the spouse in the divorce is going to say, well, if you're doing that just to dupe me out of my share of these what they're claiming are marital assets, which is going to be an uphill battle. But the attorneys are going to have to go to work there.
Now, on the other side, an inheritance received and kept separate is not a marital asset.
That's right. Now, the gain that occurs on some of those assets during the marriage can be marital, but the actual corpus or principal inherited, if kept separate, not commingled, can remain a non-marital asset. However, we recommend good nuptial planning, because with a good nuptial agreement, you can put a steel curtain up there and clearly define who gets what and who has rights to what and keep all the surprises at bay.
Yep. So that's something for you all to think about. Anyone who's put a child's name on your assets with you now, currently, that's what could happen. And sometimes the parents are the last to know when there's a divorce going on with your children. They don't want to tell you. They're ashamed. They're ashamed of it, and they are not proud of it. And that's not something that would come up sometimes in normal conversation, and sometimes you're the last to know, and there you are putting your child's name on assets to co-own them with them, not knowing. And I always say, even if you do know everything, anyone can have a car accident. So if your child has a car accident and they're an owner of your assets, then your assets are in jeopardy to lose those. There are lots of negative things there. And why would a parent do that? A lot of times they'd say, well, I'll ask them, why did you do that? And they'll say, well, I wanted to avoid probate.
Yeah, all the time. People hyper-focus on avoiding probate. And like I said, a good planning attorney is going to help you achieve that goal of avoiding probate, but it's sort of a juggling act. You know, you want to juggle liability concerns, you want to juggle gift tax exposure, you want to keep all these balls in the air for that client at the same time, and you have sort of this lay person who's just saying, I want to avoid probate, which is great, but there's more to estate planning than just avoiding the probate process. And since you asked me, in Turnabout's Fair Play, what was the messiest matter you had to face this week in the office?
I think the messiest matter is dealing with probate issues where a widow comes in, and the husband had assets just in his name, long-term marriage that he had never put the wife's name on there. One of them was a retirement account where the wife wasn't a beneficiary on even a retirement account.
Oh my gosh.
So now you have to go through probate, and it was a second marriage, so now there are children involved, and there might come in some children's rights to the estate. And then dealing with a widow who's like in total shock that she's not going to receive everything, perhaps.
And the
100%.
worst part, that's 100% preventable.
Absolutely. Well, in long-term marriage, and husband just never got it. Husbands sometimes delay things a little bit.
We never think we're going to die.
Yeah. But you do, and then sometimes you do with some results. Worst part of my week, though, was going to the dermatologist and getting a couple of spots frozen on my face.
Yeah, but for the people who can't see, you look great. You would if you hadn't told me, I never would have known.
So I have a little dash of makeup on 3 different spots.
You didn't have to tell everyone that, but I like.
Now that I've said my face, that I had these 3 big red spots where frozen, something or another was going on there.
I think the audience appreciates vulnerability in those.
There you go.
So
complete honesty up front. I've got 2 on my back. Of course, I've got my shirt on. So I've got five frozen spots. Shirt's hiding 2 of them, and makeup's hiding the other 3.
It's probably best to let the shirt keep hiding those.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. All right, so I see a call coming in, but if you want to call in and get in line here at 877-943-9673. 877 is the toll-free number, 943-9673. Doesn't matter where you are listening from. You can give us a call, and we had a caller drop off already. The phone's working today? They're working, okay. Little test, I guess, on the phone. So usually we have bunches of calls by now, so give us a call if you have a legal question. Something people ask, well, who's going to call a legal show early in the morning? Well, somebody that's been up all night worried about some legal issue.
All the time.
And I think everyone has legal issues and what ifs. The most often asked question I think Patrick and I both received over the years is my out-of-state will or trust good in the state of Florida since I've moved here? How do you answer that one, Patrick?
Well, we always have our little joke we make about, it depends or maybe, but at the end of the day, it's a situation where, and we faced this week.
It depends is a favorite legal answer to most questions.
Well, it really is. It's a situation, we saw it twice this week, where we had out-of-state wills come to us for a probate, and these were wills that were signed and witnessed, but there's no notary. So in the state where these documents were created, they're 100% valid, which means they're valid here, but they're not optimally efficient because they don't meet our self-proving statute. That lack of a notary there, that lack of that affidavit language, we have to track down one or both of these witnesses. And in one of these cases, the party said, well, I know that witness is deceased. So now we're down to one witness, and if we can't find them, we can't prove the will. So could be potentially up a creek. That's why I say when you hear those, and I tell people all the time at my seminars in the villages, when you move into the villages, you instantaneously get 2 experts on every medical, legal, and social problem you will ever again have in your life.
Just 2?
Yeah, just 2. The neighbor on the left and the neighbor on the right. And they all had estate planning experiences in their family, and this makes them experts on kind of what you need done in these situations. And it's really important just to seek good quality legal advice in these situations and stop taking the advice from the laypersons.
Yeah, and some of those neighbors have done it themselves.
All the time.
Yeah, or watch some national financial lady on estate planning give advice. I've seen some documents that are just notarized and not witnessed. Like California's pretty famous for that. So they moved to Florida. Now, how would you answer this question? So they have a California trust that's just notarized and not witnessed. And before they come see you, they had a deed, their Florida home transferred to, they did it themselves and put their Florida homestead into this trust.
I think their homestead's precarious at best at that point, because without the reservation of rights language that's required under Florida Statute 196, I don't think you've maintained the present possessory interest necessary to maintain the ad valorem property tax exemption. I think the better argument is the constitutional creditor protection under the state constitution still pretty surely inures at that point. But at the end of the day, I think the better way to do that is to do something we call domesticate the foreign trust for Florida, design it to hold Florida homestead property. And we do that through what I like to call coupling language. We put language in the trust and language in the deed, both indicating that this was and will remain protected homestead.
The trust, though, has to be executed in the same formality as the deed.
Absolutely.
So it has to be witnessed. So now you got a trust is not witnessed, but you do have a deed that perhaps is witnessed.
I cured that with a restatement.
Restatement and a new deed, actually.
Right.
All right, let's go to Lee in St. Petersburg.
Yes, good morning.
Hey, Lee, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. Doing okay. How are you guys?
Great.
We're doing great now that you've called.
Okay. I've got a question. Back in the early 80s, like 81, 82, I was arrested, drug charge for they said I had sold a bag of marijuana, but because of the apartment was in my name, I guess I was just arrested with everybody else and hauled off. I spent my time of probation and everything, and it's all cleared up. But last year I was driving up to Ohio. I was going through West Virginia. The West Virginia State Police pulled me over, and since it was still on my license, they decided to tear my vehicle apart looking for drugs. how do I get that off of my Florida license?
Okay, so back in the 80s, that was a felony?
Yes, I guess it would be considered a felony. That's when old Richard Nixon was doing his drug thing, you know.
Yeah. So we have a criminal law attorney on the show once in a while. We talk about expunging and sealing, but there's some things that cannot be expunged and sealed, and I think a felony concerning drugs is one of those things. But I could give you, if you want to email me, I'll give you his contact information for you to call and ask him if there's any way and what to do. But generally, a felony involving drugs is one of those things that doesn't come off your record, I believe. It can't be expunged or sealed, I don't think. But you certainly should talk to somebody who practices in that area, and I'd be glad to give you that name and contact.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be helpful. So, in other words, you're saying that would be on my driver's license till the day I die?
I'm not sure about what has to be on a driver's license. I just know I don't think you can expunge or
it's just
seal
in
that
the,
record.
it's just in the law enforcement database. When they pull you up in the system, they're just going to see that there was this in your prior criminal history.
Yeah, but he's got it stamped on his driver's license also, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, Lee, send me an email and I'll send you the name of the criminal law attorney we have on the show once in a while that can answer that.
Well, I thank you. Could I ask you a question that has to do with real estate?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. My parents passed away, left me a mobile home. It's in a mobile home park that is share-owned. Everybody owns a piece of the pie. And since I've gotten very sick, had cancer, we decided to put our son on the name on it. But he has to have his name on the share and also has to be on the deed for the mobile home where the title through the driver's place is placed.
Yes.
Yeah. Since it's a 55 and older park, since he is under the age of 55, will there be a difficult problem of just putting his name on, or I put like in a trust or a POA or something like that?
Well, I think a trust would be better to put it into rather than to put his name on there, because then you don't have, if he gets sued, divorced, or like Patrick and I were talking about earlier in the show, something bad happens to him and he's an owner of that property, you could lose it or lose part of it through that. So I would do the deed and the reissue the stock share, the ownership share, into a trust and just leave it to him. It would be better.
Should I put his name on the title, though?
No, I wouldn't, because there again, if he gets sued, divorced, has an accident, it's is subject to his creditors if you make him an owner.
So by not having his name on it right now, is it possible to put a title in trust for future down the road in case pass away without his name being on the title? Then it would show he owns it.
Yeah, it should be set up to all pass to him upon your death.
I see.
All
Okay,
right.
well, thank you for your time, and I'll email you.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's go to Bert in Sun City Center. Hey, Bert.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, what can we do for you?
I just got a divorce final a couple weeks ago, and $5,000 more appeared on what they call arrears, and I've been paying.
From what? A credit card or what? What from what?
Divorce payments, just regular payments on my account.
Okay, so that was to the attorney. You had $5,000 more dollars. I'm not sure where you owe the money to. From alimony payments or?
Yes.
Alimony payments.
Federal,
okay, I got you.
Federal employee, and so they sent work, and I never heard of anything about arrears during the trial or anything else.
Were you represented by an attorney?
Whatever.
Were you represented by an attorney?
I was a pro se.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
All right, well, I think my advice would probably be to see what Patrick says too, that you probably need an attorney to untangle this for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Joe. I think that it's one of those situations where going in pro se and then hiring an attorney after the fact is going to be a necessity here, and it's going to be probably more expensive to hire the attorney after the fact to fix it than just hiring the attorney out of the gate. That's not to beat you up. That's just to let all the other listeners out there know when you go into these situations, even though it's tough, and oftentimes it's tough financially to hire an attorney, it's the better way to go going into these things because it's just going to be more expensive to fix it if something goes sideways on the back end.
Yes, I realize that.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Bert. Well, good luck to you.
Congratulations on the divorce.
Yeah.
Being over, I mean, so.
Right.
All right. All right, Bert. Thanks for calling. All right, let's go to Fred in Sun City Center.
Yes, my parents who just recently moved into a retirement center. They left their car with me and the title. It's a clear title. And you had done the power of attorney, giving me power of attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Am I able to sign that title form when we find a buyer?
Yes. Yeah, so you're going to sell the car, use the power of attorney, and then you're going to have the check made payable to them?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I think you're fine. I think you should be able to use the power of attorney.
All right.
It might be easier, though, just to take... You all live close together?
Fairly close, yes.
It might be easier just to get them to sign the title, though.
Okay, fine, but...
You might have you never know what happens when you use the power of attorney if somebody's going to question it at DMV. I mean, it's like the IRS. You go in there one day and get one answer, or you could go in there the next. Sometimes it depends on who you get. I'm not trying to say negative, bad things about DMV all the time, but sometimes it'd be easier to just get them to sign the title.
Get them to sign it if we can. Okay, fine. Thank you kindly.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right, let's go to Jody in St. Petersburg.
Yes, I just wanted to find out some questions about the ladybird. I am a single grandparent with 2 grandkids that are legal age, and I wanted to see if you thought that was a good idea to do that for them so my house would not have to go through probate.
No.
That was President Johnson's wife, wasn't it?
Right, Lady Bird Johnson.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let Patrick answer that one.
All right, so this is one of my favorites, and I'll remind you, you asked this question. So the Lady Bird comes to us from back in the 70s when, like 1975, the estate tax exemption that today is around $12 million it was like $176,000. So people had these big estate tax problems, and their attorneys were getting creative. They said, my gosh, we need to get rid of these assets before we die so we don't pay this huge estate tax. Well, the attorney said, I can't just give the asset away from my client to the child, because if I do that, I'm dodging the estate tax but running headlong into the gift tax. Well, here comes the Lady Bird deed, where the attorneys are breaking the ownership interest into 2 parts. Part 1 is the remainder interest, the vested remainder interest you give to the child. The other part is the life estate that you keep back. Under Internal Revenue Code Section 7520, that life estate has value. So it's a $500,000 house based on my life expectancy. Let's say I'm 55, life expectancy to 95. Let's say that life estate has a value of $350,000. Now, to do a Lady Bird, I've given away a $500,000 home, but I only have to pay gift taxes on $150,000 because that's the value of what I've actually given away, given the life estate that I kept. So this was good planning. Matter of fact, it was a little too good because the IRS, it got their attention. It got congressional response where everyone thought they were just going to say, you can't do these Lady Birds anymore. But they didn't. They said you can do them, but if the person who gets that vested remainder interest is an applicable family member, like a child or in your case, a grandchild, that life estate you kept back is deemed to be valueless. It's as if you gave them the whole property. So while the Lady Bird's still around and it still has this byproduct of avoiding probate, it produces big gift tax consequences. In addition to that, you may not pass away right away, and nothing transfers or vests in actual possession of the remainderment until you pass. So I still think that the trust, the simple trust for most clients, is the more optimal approach as opposed to a Lady Bird because it's giving you more versatility. It produces less title issues. There's no gift tax planning. The other thing is it's going to guarantee avoiding probate if one of the grandkids passes away. You'd see the unfortunate situation with a Lady Bird is if you have a grandchild or child you put on that deed and they die first, now you've got a probate issue, not yours, theirs, because they died owning that vested remainder interest in the property. Whereas if it's in your trust, it would say, And their share will continue on to their issue per stirpes, their descendants, or to the surviving beneficiaries you've named. So even though the ladybird's still around, it still works to avoid probate. I think it's a brutish strategy when it's designed to just avoid probate, and there are far more optimal options available like that of a simple living trust.
Okay, so is the ladybird the same as the enhanced life estate deed?
Very, very, very similar. The one additional feature to the enhanced life estate deed is the ability to call the property back. So you can actually convey the property without the joinder of the remainderment. So they're very similar in principle, but that's the one additional difference.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, you're listening to Ask an Attorney, all about Florida law. I'm attorney Joseph Pippen, and attorney Patrick Smith is in studio. And you can call in with a toll-free number, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. Phone lines are open. Let's go to Dan in Jacksonville.
Good morning, fellas.
Hey, Dan.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a 2002 revocable living trust, and the way I had it set up is that upon my death, my Roth IRA and my SARSEP are inherited by the trust. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
What was the second thing you said? You said a Roth IRA, and what was the second?
SEP.
Oh, a SEP.
A SARSEP.
All right. So taxes have never been paid on that, right?
Well, the
SEP?
Roth is...
I know the Roth.
tax-free.
The Roth, it's okay if
Yeah.
it comes into the trust because all the taxes have been paid. So your other account, the taxes have never been paid. That's money that's been set aside.
Correct. Yeah, it's you pay the taxes
All
after
right.
your death.
Does your trust have stretch distributions to the heirs?
Say that again.
Does your trust, the distribution upon your death, is it outright to them immediately, or does it have a stretch? I mean, so
The way I understand it is the trustee just takes the assets, cashes them all in, and divides them up into 3 equal parts and hands the money to the...
And the 3 equal parts are outright, not over a period of time.
Yes.
My advice would be to have you keep the Roth like it is if you like. There's no taxable event. On the SEP, I would name the beneficiaries directly and not have it come into the trust.
Okay. All right.
And then they'll have probably some choices on how they take it.
Yeah, if all your beneficiaries, Dan, are healthy of-age adults, there's no minors, there's no special needs beneficiaries, there's really no reason to go through the additional necessary steps to route those accounts through the trust and add the additional stretch language that Joe's referencing.
Well, my problem is that we're all over 70 years old. I don't have any kids or anything, and neither do my sisters. But I mean, that's another situation. One other quick question, possibly.
All of your beneficiaries are over 70? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have contingent beneficiaries named, I hope?
Not yet. I mean, I'm going to probably come out and see Joe and redo this thing. I've been thinking a lot
you can
about
make
it.
contingent beneficiaries other family members or charities, or you have multiple choices.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, charities, or I've got like an extended family, in another state. I may do something with them.
Well,
can I
you
ask
said
one
you
other-
might come see me. I'm there every other Friday. I'd be glad to see you, but go ahead and ask another question.
Okay. What's your opinion of umbrella policies?
Most of my umbrellas don't cost very much, but I don't need to. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I think you should have one. I think most people should have one. I think if you cause a multi-car accident on 95, you'd be super glad you had one. Or even if you have a 100, 300 policy and you get sued for 400, you'd be glad you had an umbrella to take care of the extra.
Okay, I've had one for about 10 years now, and I'm comfortable with it, and I was just curious what your opinion was.
Yeah, they don't cost that much. I don't know what you pay, $400, $500, $600 a year maybe for it. It's not probably that much. And it's
Well, it's $1 million. Do you think that's enough? My assets, my total assets, if I were to die tomorrow, probably be $400,000 to $450,000 if I cashed in everything.
My experience is most of the time cases get settled very quickly when there's an umbrella policy. Is that enough? Most likely, but if you caused $2 million worth of damage, you would have been happier with a $2 million policy. So I can't really say you have enough because, anything could happen, but that's what most people would do in your bracket, I think.
If it's been that long, Dan, I would just sit down with your insurance agent or your financial advisor or both. Have them run the numbers. Run the numbers at 1, 2, and 5 and just, see what makes you sleep better at night. That's the right answer.
Yeah, well, they give me the option every year. It's, up to $5 million. So
yeah, look at the numbers and see what makes you feel best. Go with that.
Yeah, and sometimes it depends on what you can afford and where your comfort level is.
Exactly.
And what assets you have that are reachable by creditors, and what other assets that are not. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for the show. That's a wonderful program.
Oh, thank you. We enjoy doing it. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right. Phone lines are open. You have a toll-free number. You can call the show if you like. And if you call quickly, you'd be our next caller. 877 is the toll-free number. 877-943-9673. That's 877-943-9673. Patrick, in your little story about putting the son's name on all of mother's accounts with her, have you ever had a case where a parent has already done that and the child was a minor?
Yes.
We'll talk about the difficulties of that, because that's not fun at all.
Right, because a lot of times a minor can't own anything, so you've got to go and get court orders to remedy those issues, and it's extremely expensive a lot of times to establish a guardianship and to get someone appointed to sign off on behalf of the minor, and it's just an absolutely horrible idea to put a minor's name on accounts and assets.
And I see people do that, though, too.
All the time.
And people leave minors' assets in a will. So what does that do? That forces a guardianship as well.
Guardianship.
Because a minor can't own assets. And I've seen people put minors' names on cars, believe it or not.
Yes, sir.
And it's just, and what about custodial accounts, where they don't get it till they're 18 or 21?
Well, then the downside there is they get it all at once. It's one lump sum.
And the custodian dies first, though.
Oh, well, now
that's
just
another
keep
issue.
on coming.
Yeah,
right?
I know. So people can make so many innocent mistakes, though. All of those things are fairly simple and maybe routinely done by people all the time. But then when somebody dies, you've got this big mess. We'll call it a mess. That's a good legal term, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Big mess to untangle what they've done that they thought was so simple, and their next door neighbor looking over the fence.
One show we should come in and talk about the success stories, the ones where someone passed away and everything went perfectly because they had taken the time to properly. I feel like those stories go unsung way too often, and I was talking with a financial advisor recently, and he was doing a presentation. He was using some case studies, like cases we had worked together, where I was the trustee and he was the FA, and talking about how masterfully everything just sort of flowed. And I think those stories carry great weight when you hear how things done properly lead to this optimal efficiency. That's not the horror story that a lot of people expect.
It'd be like a newspaper with just all good news.
That's right.
And no news.
Oh, those are called the Gospels. So.
We might be the first people ever in the world to do a show with just all good news.
Just all good news?
Yeah, that'd be. All right, let's go to Ben in Bradenton.
This better be good news.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Joe. First of all, I want to thank you for, doing this.
Oh, my pleasure.
For the public, And I did have a question about, I was having some work done on the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the contractor, I got an estimate and everything. And on some of the paperwork the contractor gave me, it was about a lien. And it said on the lien that, even if I pay him and he doesn't pay for all the materials or the subs that he uses or whatever, they could come back and put a lien on my property, even though I've paid him.
Does it say at the top of this, notice to owner by chance?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, I don't know why. Did he want you to sign this?
Well, it was just in the paperwork. I don't have to sign anything. It's just like more of a notice. It has some statute sections number, if that helps.
Okay, it's kind of a strange question, because if you hire a contractor to do work and you have a fixed price for the work,
right?
And he then hires subcontractors, and those subcontractors do work on the house. Those subcontractors can put a lien on the house if they don't get paid. And then your recourse is going to be to fight that and then sue the contractor if you've paid everything you owe the contractor.
Yeah,
so I can't.
It'd be contractor.
Huh?
Suppose I paid the contractor.
I know that's the weird part of your question, is that he wants you to be liable to his subs even though you paid him in full. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Well, he doesn't want me to. He's just,
He's saying if they file a
alert.
lien, you'd be responsible to probably pay them, which you probably would, but then your recourse is against him because he didn't pay them and you have a contract for a full price that you've paid already.
So this isn't a notice from the sub. This is a notice sent to you directly from the builder.
Right.
Yeah, the builder wants him to sign something.
Yeah, that doesn't...
Yeah, I don't...
No, it doesn't have a place for a signature. It's just more like a notice letting you know that this could happen.
Well, he's probably just advising you of the rights of subcontractors. But, you have a flat price, you pay it in full, you can certainly come against him if you have to pay more to a sub.
Yeah, and there's an affidavit you want to get him to give you at the end of the work having been completed where he, swears under penalty of perjury that all the subs have been paid and everybody's been given the money. And that way you have that to protect you to go after him if if a sub winds up coming after you.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering, if I could do something that would protect me from this, should it happen.
Well, just keep record of all your paperwork and contracts, and you pay him in full. You're not going to be liable to his subs that are charging more than he charged you.
Did you have an attorney negotiate your contract with the builder?
No.
See, I mean, not to beat you over the head with it, but having an attorney negotiate the contract on the front end can protect you a lot better.
What size contract was it? How much was the contract for?
Like between $10,000 and $15,000.
Yeah,
substantial.
So yeah. So he quoted you wrong, and he quoted you 10, and now he winds up spending 15, and he doesn't have the money to pay the subs, and they put a lien on your property. Then the subs sue you, and you're paid in full at 10. Then your only recourse is probably to sue him because the subs have the right to put a lien on the property. So that's the way it works.
Well, where would I get... you said I could have him sign something at the end saying that it's been paid?
Well, he's just going to give you a contract for the work that with a price, and you're going to pay it. And then what happens next is, it's going to be his fault, and your only recourse is probably against him.
Well, he's talking about the contractor's affidavit, the one at the very end when all the work's complete,
Yeah.
where the contractor signs off and swears to the fact that all the subs have been paid. Yeah, if he gives you that, that's your silver bullet. That's what you want.
Where would I get something or find something like that, I guess is...
You can always call a good attorney.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
You can email us if you run into trouble. We'll be glad to help you.
Okay.
All right.
All right, great. Thanks
for calling. Lines are open at 877-943-9673. That's 877-943-9673. If you have a legal question, be more than glad to try to help you any way we can. Patrick, why don't you give us your contact information?
So to reach out to me, you can reach me at any of the office locations. West Coast, 727-586-3306. And the middle part of the state, the Claremont Villages area, 352-241-8760. My email address, patricksmith@attypip.com, and on Instagram, @attorneypatricksmith.
All right. Phone lines are open at 877-943-9673. That's 877-943-9673. We are here to help you in any way we can. If you would like to receive our free estate planning poster sheet, it's a large double-sided sheet, a lot of good information about estate planning, your options, little diagrams explaining different things that we've talked about today. If you like it, we'd love to send it to you. You can get it one of three ways. You can call our toll-free office number at 1-800-226-3529. That's 1-800-226-3529. You can email me at Joe, at attypip.com, or you can text your name and address at 727-667-3967. Let's go to Diana in Sarasota.
I've got a question about what the first gentleman just said, and then I have my own question. One way to solve the subcontractor thing, would that be to insist that your contractor do the work himself and not hire any subcontractors?
Well, most contractors have subs, but you could try. I mean, you could try, but he might not have the technical ability to do whatever the job is fully.
Okay. So my own question is, I don't have a whole lot of assets. I have a small modular home paid for. I own a car, not worth a whole lot, and the assets that I do have that are of any value go through my company, and I have a beneficiary assigned for those. But my home and my car and the things in my home, what would be the least expensive will to make sure that if I died tomorrow, these small assets did not have to
okay,
go
your
through
home,
probate?
did you say a mobile home or a single-family home?
Yeah, mobile home.
Mobile home. And do you own the lot underneath?
No.
And do you have a share of the park?
No, we just own the home.
Okay. And what other accounts do you have? Do you have a bank account, stock account, money market, CD?
Yes, my stocks and that go through my company, and I have a beneficiary listed through my company, so I don't have to worry about that. All I really have to worry about is my home and my things within my home, and a bit of money in the bank. Yes.
All right. Well, just to answer the question, a minimum. If you have a will, there's a chance you have something. It could be small in your mind that goes through probate. The very, very minimum probate fee we charge would be $2,500 plus costs. You're looking at over probably $3,000. The fee for a simple will is $125 that we charge. But
nice.
But you could possibly have to go through probate, and it could be up to $3,000. Things you have beneficiaries on would probably be better in a trust, because if you had them in a trust, they could be used for your benefit while you're living, but incapacitated.
Perfect.
And then you would avoid probate and avoid guardianship and make it quick, fast, and easy, and private.
Yeah, this is just money that's taken out of my paycheck. I work for a large company here, and they make a match, and so I can, after I'm 59 or 62 or leave the company, I can take that myself and do what I want with it. It's just that there's a beneficiary assigned while I'm with the company, and if something happens to me.
Okay.
All
right.
So
yeah, but the fee, to answer your question, is $125.
That sounds like a great deal.
All right.
I'll come see you someday.
Diana, I have a quick question for you before you go. Where are you from?
Oh my gosh, I hear that at work every single day. I tell people the south of France, but the truth is I was born in West Virginia, and then I was 30 years in North Carolina.
See, I went to law school in Chapel Hill, and so you have a hint of that North Carolina twang. So it's a beautiful accent. Don't ever lose it.
All right, I'm gonna. This is for my producer. I'm gonna take 2 more calls, and we'll have Dr. Lane come in.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, let's go to an anonymous caller in Auburndale.
Oh gosh.
Good morning. I wanted to try to get through to y'all.
You know, I miss you so much. I really do.
So much for the
mother.
Yeah,
this is Patrick's mother checking on him.
So much for the anonymity. So.
I want to wish y'all a happy Thanksgiving. I have been driving, and I could not get through, so I stopped. And I got through. And wish y'all a happy Thanksgiving.
Does your phone only work when your car stopped? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I keep it running so that way I could just put it in gear. And get back on the road.
I was thinking as this show started, I haven't talked to you in a long time, and I really miss talking to you, and I'm so glad you called today. So I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
You're one of my favorite people there. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Right. Wait, I got to quit. I was going to say more.
Okay.
All right. I want y'all to have a happy Thanksgiving, and then I am thankful that I'm a Christian, and I was born in America, raised in America, and God bless America. And please have everyone praying for the American. Could y'all please just touch what I say on the situation in America?
All right. Thank you so much for calling.
All right. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right. All right, let's go to Maureen in Jacksonville.
Hello?
Hey, Maureen.
Hi.
Hi.
My issue is I live in a condo. It's made very cheaply. The floor in the ceiling of my unit are only 1.5 inches from the person above me.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear all kinds of noise. And I complained about this for years. And after the last tenant because it's being rented all the time. I went up and talked to the owner, and I had her come down, and I walked her through the unit, and I said, let me go upstairs while there's no one in it. And you walk around in my bedroom, or I'll walk around in your bedroom, and you can see if you hear anything. Well, anyway, I did that and came back down and talked to her, and she said, yes, she did, that there were weak floorboards, but they weren't going to do anything about it. And she said the reason being is because they put in new carpeting before the last tenant, and until they change the carpeting, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah. Hey, Maureen, most likely they're not going to do anything, so you might want to look for another place to live when your lease is up. But let me do this. I'm going to put you on hold. My producer's going to give you my cell number, Lahudi.
Okay.
He's going to give you my cell number, and then you can call me around 9:30 or so, and I'll be glad to talk to you off the air. I want to get to my visitor in the studio here, so I'll be glad to talk to you a little bit more, though.
Thank you, though.
All right, thank you. All right, in studio, Salem Family is introducing a new program last week, I believe, here. And Dr. Lang, Dr. Lang. Actually, my last eye exam was with Dr. Lang. I think a lot of him. I love listening to him on the radio. He is a great host, and thank you for being on the show for a few minutes. So let me introduce you. Why don't you tell us about your show?
Joe, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. My name is Dr. Michael Lang. I'm a board-certified optometric physician. I'm also a certified nutritional specialist. Founded Lang Eye Care and Associates and the Lang Eye Institute about close to 30 years ago now. And since I'm a certified nutritional specialist, I really got tired of seeing my patients age before my eyes, going blind from macular degeneration, glaucoma, things like that. So I started the Fortify Vitamin Company and got involved in a lot of clinical research on nutrition that could help slow down the aging. And that's really what I became famous of. One of the first developers of macular degeneration vitamins. And now we've parlayed that into a whole body health company. God made a pretty good body if we give it the right fuel. And so, I've been hosting Ask the Doctor, I don't think quite as long as you, but since 1993 on multiple radio networks throughout the country. And now I've joined the Salem team, and my first live show was last week. And I come on right after you for 2 hours, and I'm real excited about being here.
Hey, you're also on WeBeam TV, just so you know. So they're beaming you, this little camera right in front of your face. We're beaming you. Oh, you're looking at yourself there. Hey, your hair is sticking straight up today.
I drove the convertible this morning.
All right, there you go. So I really enjoy listening to your show myself. And even though I don't have any eye issues right now that I know about, I love listening to all the things I could be doing to take better care of my eyes. And I love some of the answers. People have all kinds of questions about different things going on with their eyes, and I think you give great advice, as much as I know about what you're talking about. But I really enjoy it. There are some shows I listen to, even though as a fishing show, if the guys are really good on the radio, I don't mind listening to a fishing show, even though I'm not going to go fishing. But you just do a great job on the radio. I'm glad. I was so glad to hear that you're part of the Salem family now.
And these guys, I got to tell you, are the utmost of professionalism here at the studio, so I'm real happy to be on the team. Yeah.
All right, so what's the most interesting eye question you've ever had on the radio?
Wow. Geez, we get so many questions. I got to tell you, a guy actually called, this is a long time ago, and I guess he was an early morning drinker, all right? Mm-hmm. And he had called me, and he said he was still a little bit hungover. He tripped and he fell, coming like to the phone or something. He was going to call me and ask me a question, something simple. And then he goes, oh my God, I can't see. I cannot see out of my left eye or my right eye. I fell and I cannot see out of my eye. And this is back in 1993, 1994. And I wasn't as good on the radio as I am now. And I asked him, well, I'm going to come in. I used to work 7 days a week. I had him come into the office right after the radio show. This was in Ocala. And right when he walked to the door, I looked at him and I said, oh, geez. He was wearing glasses and one lens was missing in his glasses. He fell, hit his head, the glasses fell off, and one lens was missing. I thought had a retinal detachment or had a bleed in his retina, and he just had one lens. And that visit was like all of 5 seconds. It was a no-charge visit.
Just to prove I listen to your show a lot, you've got one caller that must call a half an hour before the show because he always wants to be your first caller in the morning.
Bob,
yes. I said that is a faithful listener because he wants to be first every
He's
single
probably
time.
on hold right now.
Probably is.
Yeah, Bob's been a caller for probably 20 years, and his questions are getting harder and harder. I think he actually researches questions that he can stump me on.
Yeah, that's what he does. All right, well, thanks so much for being on the show. Listen to, it starts at 9:06 hour,
right,
I believe. Listen to Dr. Michael Lang.
Thanks
so much for listening to Ask an Attorney. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Joe.
Y'all have a great weekend. So long.